Jasper. We are at a beautiful, I hope you get to see it because it is amazing. We're at Old House in the pub, and this is like a real life pub. Wine is amazing.
It's the best wine I've ever had, honestly.
It is, and it's a Virginian wine, but we're going to link the notes to Old House Winery and Distillery in the notes. So, Russell was my first podcast guest because he was like, we're such good buddies, so passionate about business and dogs and life. And so I just want to say, first of all, give everybody a bit of a background because, hey, we got some new listeners.
Yep. So definitely, I'm a plumber by trade. I was in the field for 20 years before I started my own business, and I felt like I'd reached as far as I could go working within the parameters of someone else's company. So, once I realized that, my mind was made up. It was time to go into business for myself, and I did that in 2018. And here we are going into my fourth year in business, and we're super excited.
How many trucks you got?
Let's see, I've got 4, and I've got another 2 that are coming very, very soon, and I've got I think 2 more coming after that. So by the time summertime hits, I should be rolling like 8 to 10 trucks.
Wow. And how many full-time employees and staff? Give us just a little bit of a background.
So right now I've got 12 full-time employees. I've got 4 to 6 more that I've got lined up that are coming along over the next month or 2 as we get more into the busy season.
And Russell, just out of curiosity, like how many counties would you say you serve?
Oh, geez. I've never counted the counties, but it's a lot. The other day I was doing some marketing, so I had to dig out all of the zip codes that we serve.
Okay.
And it was like tons. I don't even know, but we go from like Warrenton to Charlottesville and like Rappahannock County to Stafford and Fredericksburg. So my goal when I went into business was to bring a great home services business to the Central Virginia area where I feel it's very underserved, because you have these bigger companies and they want to focus on these big metropolitan areas, right? Like the Fredericksburg, Northern Virginia, that sort of thing, while everyone forgets about these wonderful customers that are out here in these more rural areas, and they're just kind of like left to these kind of old school companies who don't put any focus towards customer service. They go in laser focused, they fix, they're laser focused, they band-aid whatever they're there to band-aid, and they get out the door, and they don't take the customer experience into the equation at all. So that's what I bring to this market.
So I like that because what you've done is number one, you found a niche, and you're jumping on your competition because in our area, this might be rural area, you might be focused on Central Virginia, but you've got some, I'm going to use this as a terminology, good old boys that are really not paying attention to their business.
Nope.
And you're going to capitalize on
customers.
that. Or their customers. You're right. Which is not paying attention to your business because they have no clue as to what their business and what their customers really need.
Correct. I might be the president and CEO of my business, but my customers are my boss, and my customers are my employees' boss. So as long as we make our customers happy, then everything works out.
And you know what? In today's world, it's like it's got to be able to be customer focused, and that's I think that's a good strategy. So I also want to talk about Russell's got I think congratulations, because we were going to do this taping last week, but he said, Kylie, I got a big deal. I got to make some things happen. So just tell us, just kudos to you.
Mm-hmm.
You ended up with a $20,000 day.
Yep.
And that's out of all of hard work.
Sure, yeah. It was. We just started our HVAC division. We had a really great day last Monday. We did, I think, $22,000 in revenue, which was an amazing day for us. We've scratched that before, so it's not the first time, but it's one of the few. But as we grow, there'll be many many more that are going to far surpass that.
That's awesome. And I want to talk about, I know we touched base a little bit from before on how you guys start your mornings, because we're going to talk a little bit more about strategy. We're going to talk about leadership and mentoring, which I know Russell's super passionate about. But how do you keep your team, your employees, focused on their goals on a weekly basis?
So I'm very big on my people. My people are everything. My people are my employees, and my people are my customers. They are everything to me. Every Tuesday morning, we have technician training. Gather all the technicians and all the apprentices, all the field workers. We have training for about 30, 45 minutes in our training room in the office. Right there, we focus on how do we better serve the customer. And then after we break from our training, we go into one-on-ones. I have a one-on-one with every single technician and apprentice in the company. And then from there, we talk about their goals, their KPIs, which are their key performance indicators. And it's just a coaching session. It's a bonding session. What's going on in your life? How can I help? That sort of thing. So it's all about just being there for your people, getting to know your people on a personal level, and just really just being there for them and being that that coach for them.
I bet I can just imagine somebody coming into now your company, coming back from the old boss, right? And like sitting down with you and saying, okay, now we're going to do our strategy, we're going to do our mentor, and we're going to do our one-on-one, and I'm going to help actually mentor you. Was it a bit intimidating for some of your guys at the beginning?
Some of the people who come in from organizations that don't operate the way mine does. Typically, you find companies that operate the way mine does in more city type areas or whatever. So you come out to a rural area and it's a real shock because nothing like this has existed here ever, and so when you bring in people who aren't used to this kind of environment, I had a guy the other day say to me that he's spoiled here working for me, which I just love hearing stuff like that.
Oh, that's very
and then
nice.
at our Christmas party, his wife said that this is the best place that he's ever worked. So I love hearing that sort of thing because my goal and the root of everything that I do is all about helping people. And if I can help my employees, I can help my customers, then we can all get to where we're going in life.
You know what? And I can imagine the joy that his wife felt and that he felt, because what he's doing is he's actually getting to better himself and be with a company that he can grow some roots at, and that really wants to help you get there, because if you get there, he gets there too.
Correct. Yep. So it's really great. So my goal is to make my people better people. I want to develop them as people, because if I can make them great people, they'll be great members of the team. They'll be great husbands and wives. They'll be great fathers and mothers. And I want to improve people's lives on every single level.
It's funny because I emulate that same thing, which is if we can help people, then they will be more prosperous, and in turn, they can be better fathers. They can do more for their children. They can, tithe more. They can help out their community. And so it really goes deep in that underlining leadership as to how we can be, how we can help lift people up.
Definitely, 100%. And we always do things very charitable in the community. We help families at Christmas and that sort of thing. And it's just really great to be able to give back and to be in a position to be able to do it.
Well, and speaking of which, I know that you guys are big supporters of SAFE, which I sit on the board of, and you guys always come through for us.
And it's like, and we don't even put that out there. It's like, a lot of people are out there putting it out there constantly, on Facebook and everything about everything they're doing for charities and yada yada yada. Just as like a self-serving kind of, hey, look at me sort of thing. But we do a lot that, frankly, I don't know if we even put anything out there. I mean, you'll share things from SAFE.
Yes.
And at Christmas time, we put out to the community. We had an angel tree for a local family that was in need, and we put out to the community, hey, if you want to come by and grab an angel off the tree, because we told the single mother that we would get every gift on the kids list. If she had 5 children, we promised her we'd get every single thing on the list. So we had the angel tree at the office, and we just put out to the community on Facebook. We made a post and said, hey, if you want to stop by and grab an angel, that's wonderful. And I think that's the only time we ever did it. We don't do it seeking recognition. We do it because it's in our hearts.
Well, and that's so honorable. So when we come back after a word from our sponsor, we're going to be talking about strategies and goals. And I want Russell to kind of walk through some of those step by step as to how you can also stay on your goals as a new business, as a startup, or as a business that's pivoting. We want to be able to talk about a little bit about goals and strategy and how you get where you want to go. So I want to ask you, Russell, like, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us what your morning, what your plan, what your routine is. I had a little talk to myself and on Facebook Live today about mindset. So, like, just to like, hey, what does a life and day and time look like for Russell as to how you strategize, plan, and make your goals happen?
Basically, I just have a vision, and you've always got, and the vision. It's okay if the vision changes over time. Goals change over time, but you got to know where you want to be, and you've got to set big goals. So for me, I set huge goals that I want to fail at because the difference maker is the amount of action that you take to reach those goals. So if you set a goal that is way huger than you could ever attain, it's going to make you take that action to reach that goal, but you're going to fail. So like for me, my goal this year is 4 million in revenue, but I mean, if I get to 3 million, that's still a huge year. And I did 1.7 last year, so it's still a huge improvement, but I'm shooting for that 4. So it makes you dig deeper and really dig in and really try to get it. It's all about taking action.
So let me think about this. So what you're saying is you'd rather reach for a big goal. If you make it, that's awesome. But you're probably going to be, if you don't make it, you're going to be shyer from that big goal than not making a puny weeny goal.
Sure. So like last year, my goal was 2 million. I did 1.7. If I set my goal at 1.5, I mean, I probably would have done 1.3.
I like it.
That's the way that I think, and it always works out for me.
So set your goal high, and how do you stay focused on that goal?
I write it down every single morning. Every single day I write down my goals. Most entrepreneurs, I mean probably all entrepreneurs, they're visionaries. They're typically the CEO in a business because they're the visionary. And every CEO and entrepreneur has a book that they carry. And in that book, I write my goals down every single day. I write down my to-dos. I cross them off, and that's how I stay organized, and that's how I stay on top of everything. And it's amazing. It's amazing if I go back through my books over the past few years, just all the goals that I've checked off. It's just amazing because when you write it down and visualize it, it happens. It comes true.
I like the visualization part of it because I also, I write whatever my top things are to do today, and I actually like crossing them off. I do. So I have a vision board, but I've got my goals, and I've got 2 or 3 different tablets. Maybe one is working on a specific project, and one is what I need to do today. But I like crossing them off. It feels good.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I'm telling you. It's like, yeah, I attained that. Yes, I know I needed to take Penny for a walk, but it's done, right? I just like it. And
then I'm pulled in so many different directions all throughout the day. It's like I've got to refocus and okay, where was I? Because being in my small business, we all wear a lot of hats. So there's always so many things going on at every single moment, and just being in tune with everything, making sure everything operates efficiently is key.
Let's talk about a lot of hats, because I think sometimes people get a little bit fearful as to, okay, they don't want to be like an entrepreneur. Now I'm going to be a solopreneur. I'm going to be doing it all on my own. I'm going to wear a lot of hats. Let's talk about, like, what hats do you wear? Just name a few.
Wow. I don't know. Business owner, entrepreneur, CEO. I mean, there's so many hats in my business that, and the thing is that every hat exists in the business. No matter if you're a one-man guy or you got 5 people, you got 10 people, every position in that company still exists. That's what you have to realize. And it's just who's wearing these hats, and is this position being responsibly managed or not?
I think that's also very big on the vision part of it as to which hats need to be in your business.
Sure.
Because perhaps for your business, I could pull something out of the air, but you do your marketing, but now then you can outsource that part. Or because, we've got to know where we shine and what's our
weaknesses.
What our weaknesses are.
Exactly. And you've got to surround yourself with people who pick up where your weaknesses are. And you got to be able to self-reflect to know where you're great and where you need help. And that's the key part about life. You got to know where your weaknesses are. And those are the people you need to surround yourself with, because they complement your skill sets and you complement theirs. And as a group collectively, everyone can reach the goals together.
I like to say that's kind of like your zone, your genius zone, which we all have them, right?
Yeah, everyone does.
And I can kind of sense probably what yours are, but don't you think that it's important for people to say, okay, setting aside the time, what are my, what is my zone of geniuses are, but what are yours?
Mine are, I know exactly the way something is supposed to operate. I can,
Okay.
I can take it down to I can take a process down to the first principle, rebuild it, and find a better way to do it. And a perfect example is right now we're really getting our inventory dialed in the office, right? So I know exactly what I need, but I don't have the patience to sit here and actually do it. That's not what I'm great at. I'm great at the vision, and I'm great at creating efficiency in the process. But in terms of actually create, like for instance, my wife Lori works in the office.
Mm-hmm.
She's in the accounting department. One of the hats that she's wearing is all this inventory stuff we have going on right now. She's sitting here and counting all this inventory and just doing all this stuff that I just don't have the mental capacity to do, but I can give her direction on exactly the way I need it done, So I can give her the direction and I can help create the process, but she's actually the kind of boots on the ground, so to speak,
Yep.
kind of making it happen.
Okay, so, and give us a couple of other areas that you are, like, say, for example, your expertise or your zone of genius.
Sure. So vision, marketing. I mean, I got the company where I've gotten it because of my marketing. In the beginning, I was 100% doing all the marketing, so I feel like I've got a decent knack for creating, content that people sort of gravitate to. So that's sort of some things that I'm working on. I'm getting some help with that, and things like in the call center. So like recently we had a process that was, as a business grows, you need to be more of a problem finder as much of a problem solver. So I'm a natural problem solver, but you also have to be just as good at finding problems so you can increase the efficiency of your business. So recently we had a process of purchase ordering in my company between the parts girl and the accounting office. It was just problems and problems and problems, and after weeks it was like, all right, I got to get involved with this. So I went in, I broke everything down to the first principle, and I rebuilt the process, and I said, this is where the problem is. So what I'm great at is taking the process and making it more efficient, and then laying out the process for the people to follow.
Okay, I like it. So one of the things too is, I think, working again with, we accept what we're really good at and what we're really not good at. Okay, so I asked you what you're good at, so what aren't you good at?
Counting inventory, like all this little like knick-knacky stuff my wife's been counting in the office, like all these like electrical parts and everything else, and inventorying trucks and so you've got to surround yourself with people where your weaknesses are, and that's one of the things that I feel like I'm good at, is I'm good at recognizing people's strengths and weaknesses. So I want to focus people into their strengths and pull them away from their weaknesses, because that overall increases morale, because now you're doing something that you're great at, and also it increases the efficiency of the business, so everything's running a lot smoother.
Right. And also it's like, and I commend you on this, because you know what, if you know one of your employees is struggling with something, I'm going to say, okay, accounting or their time card or whatever it might be. It's like, help them find an easier way perhaps of doing it. You know that they're good employees. You know that they're good at XYZ, but perhaps he's not good at time management or whatever it might be. Or
maybe we just need to work on the process, because we're very process driven. Everything has a process. And if something fails, you can always trace it back to a broken process. So if someone's having trouble, and I know they're a good person, like you were just saying, it's like I can tell maybe one of my technicians is a great person. We just need to help them with the process, because we give them a process to run the service call. We give them a process to generate the reviews. There's a process for absolutely everything. And if you follow the process, it's like baking a cake, and you follow the recipe. The end result is a delicious cake.
A delicious, wonderful cake. Right. Okay, so we had to be like, interrupted. We were having so much great conversation behind the scenes. Sometimes we got to get you guys back on that. So we're going to have some footage on some behind the scenes stuff. But I want to talk about processes, which might seem a little boring to some of you, but you cannot scale without having some processes. So Russell, we were talking about it. Let's like heat that passion up again.
So, one thing that I've read, I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of studying entrepreneurs and successful business owners and leadership and all that kind of stuff. One thing I read recently, I don't know where I read it from, but it said, if the owner of the business, the entrepreneur, the CEO should be doing what only that person can do. Mm-hmm. And if you find yourself bogged down in things that somebody else could be doing, you need to write a process and hire someone to do it for you. Because the CEO and the visionary of the business needs to be doing what he's great at.
Right.
So for me, when I started my business, I wanted to do things right from the beginning. People think, plumbing business, and they think backwoods plumbing shop working out of a shed with, big overweight guys with their butt cracks hanging out.
I was going to say butt cracks. I wanted to say, because there's that plumber butt crack
and
business.
That's not the kind of business that I operate. We're professionals. We dress as professionals. We present ourselves as professionals. And one thing that I wanted to do from the beginning was build a professional organization that would really serve customers in a way that they needed to be served. But in order to do that, I had to make sure my processes have been dialed in from the start. So it's just been a constant process of revising processes, getting better, getting more efficient, so that as we scale the business, it makes it a lot easier. Because now, I don't know of any other companies that are my size that are doing the things that I'm doing in terms of dialing in processes with inventory and the customer service, the scripting for what the CSRs use, scripting what the dispatch use. I mean, when you have your processes dialed in, you can scale your business, and it alleviates a lot of the headaches and a lot of the kind of shit show that a lot of companies are. I've worked for a lot of shit show companies out there, and that taught me that that's not what I wanted in my business.
No. So don't you think also some of the processes, they can be painful because you've got to then learn from what your mistakes are, talking to your employees, but also the customers, and getting feedback. How could we have made this better? How could this have been, this experience or the phone call or easier processes, talking to now Lori that's doing numbering this bolt, that bolt, whatever, and then figuring out how I'm going to make it easier. Mm-hmm. And that's not easy, but you got to do it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard work, and that's the thing as an entrepreneur. It's like, I heard someone say one time that they wanted to start their own business so they'd have more time with their family.
Which is funny at the beginning.
So whatever, dude, go do that. But you're going to work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and it's freaking hard. It's what it is, man, but it's an investment. It's an investment in your future, because the goal is to not grind like that every single day the rest of your life.
Right.
The goal is to grind till you reach your goals, and you sail off into the sunset with a pile of cash and you go live in the Caribbean. At least that's what my goals are.
Well, I knew that your goals were that. But you know what, also, just on that note, let's talk about scalability. Because, in my opinion, if you can scale your business, then on the time that you're taking off with your family, you're great. You, Lori, the kids, you're in the Bahamas, you're in the Caribbean, you're in Costa Rica, you're doing your thing, right? Your business is still working and running for you. Number one, your employees know what they're doing. Everybody is, the processes have been worked out, and the scalability is there.
Correct. So the business runs itself, is what you're saying.
Right.
So what you don't want to be is, you don't want to find yourself 60 years old finding that you want to transition. Every business owner needs to take the transition point of their business into consideration. Where's that transition point going to be? And you don't want to find yourself 60 years old and you've never scaled your business, and you've basically owned a job your whole life. And now you're at the point where you want to retire and your business is worth nothing, because without you, there is no business. You don't want to find yourself in that situation. You don't want to be there. You need to build your business to where it runs itself, so that when it comes time to transition, it's actually worth something.
It's like, how can you, and I'm actually, this is kind of interesting because I'm getting ready to launch a course on scaling your business. But your goal is to remove yourself from the picture, not to say that you're not there, not to say that Russell Furr's not the face, but you want it so that it runs seamlessly when you're there and when you're not there.
Correct. And processes are key. And that's another thing that's going to make your business valuable when you go to sell it, is your processes have to be written down so that people can come in after you and know exactly what to do, how to operate the business.
On that note, I want to say one of the funny things is I have a team, you've got a team, we've all got employees, call it a team, whatever it might be. And what you don't want is that team member being the only person that knows what they do. Because then what they've done is they've got you held hostage. So that goes back to processes. Hey, what do you do? How do you do it? What's the keys? What's this? Have it on a process, project management, whatever it might be, and have it so that you can actually have a scalable business.
Correct. And you have to trust your people. If you don't trust people, that'll never happen. You can't be the type of guy that goes, oh, I got to do this because they'll mess it up, or I got to do that because they can't do it the way that I do it. You know what? No one is like you. No one is going to go run a service call as well as I could run a service call in the field. Because I loved it. I loved the engagement with the customer. I loved what I did. And I've got to realize that very, very few people out there can run a service call the way that I ran the service call. But you got to realize the fact that they're going to do it as long as you give them great leadership and great training, that they will do it good enough to make the customer happy. And that's what it's all about.
So let's tag that on to a mentorship, which is important. So now what you can do about scaling is, now you've hired a technician, and let's say, his people skills suck, right? You can mentor him on, hey, John, let's get your people skills up there, because we get that perhaps he's shy. Maybe he didn't, whatever the deal is, he's not confident. You can teach him leadership, through your mentorship, how he can actually rise above, learn some skill sets, soft skill sets, hard skill sets, which are just as important with your employees, I would say, wouldn't you?
100%. We do that every Tuesday in trainings. It's all about stepping out of your comfort zone and growing. The magic happens outside of your comfort zone. If you stay in your comfort zone, you never grow. You got to be uncomfortable in life.
Stretching. Yep, I like it.
I mean, one thing that I have always kind of feared, I guess you could say, is like public speaking. Well, I won 2 awards through the Chamber of Commerce, and I had to get up in front of a packed auditorium of like 300 people and like give a speech, and I was like, and it's just like, you gotta, and the thing is I was excited to get up there and step out of my comfort zone.
Right.
That's the thing, is you gotta be excited to step out of your comfort zone.
It's like what gets you nervous is exactly what you need to do.
It's exactly what you need to be doing.
Gotta do it.
Yeah, 100%.
I love it. And no matter which level, whether you're the CEO or whether you're a newbie technician coming on, because it's the same. Think about this. Your getting nerves of talking to 300 people at what level you're at is exactly the same thing that a newbie technician is, whatever her age is. And they're like, oh my gosh, this guy wants me to be professional in front of people. I don't think I could do it. But you're going to help them do it through leadership, training, and mentorship.
Correct, 100%.
I love it.
That's what it's all about, developing people.
Yep. So before we leave, I think that one thing I can say is that through small businesses, we are help elevating our people to be better people. But also through small businesses, we can do more in the community by pulling it together and being profitable and just having community effort.
Yep.
So Russell, always my buddy. I love you. We get to meet all the time in our small downtown Culpeper community. Tonight we are at Old House Winery, and guess what? We cannot do this without you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. Like us and share the love, because that's how we grow. Bye.